On the track rope project.
Sure. Good evening, everyone. My name is Prince Shah. I'm the project manager for RIOC on the tram Overhaul project. Here with us today is folks from POMA, Mike McCucken, and you can introduce yourself. France was the subcontractor for the POMA work.
Yeah, just make sure you announce yourself for the recording. This is for the recording. People can pull it down at any time in the future, so they have to know who is speaking.
Okay, thank you. So just briefly touching over first the history, the overall goal of the project is the tram overhaul, which was included part of the approved budget, which is about $2.1 million for this work. Very largely speaking, it's a maintenance project, not a construction project. So it is a maintenance project needed for the code. And very kind of simply put, it's project to move the ropes, the track ropes that carry the tram. So there's 2 track ropes for each tram. Currently, as you will see outside, and you know a lot of you guys already know, the work has started on the north tram. I'll let POMA speak a little bit more about the scope of work and their current on-site conditions.
Mike McCucken. Is there any questions first about what we're doing? Does everyone kind of understand the process?
For the purpose of the public, the issue is that they're in the track ropes on the tram, which the tram runs on. There are hot spots along the track, which means that they have extra wear. And the rope what's called the rope, there are cables, but it's still, for historical purposes, called ropeways. The track ropes need to be slipped or moved slightly to avoid continuous wear on those spots where they take significant pressure. And it's called slipping the ropes.
That's correct. It's a code required thing. We're moving roughly.
I'm sorry.
You may have to speak up.
Mike, you're going to have to talk up.
It's a code required process. We're doing it about 35 meters. The goal of this is to get all of the rope off of each tower. So our longest saddle is what holds the rope up on the tower. Our longest saddle is about 35 meters. That's about 30 meters. The goal is to get all of that rope off of that saddle towards Manhattan. And then, every tower will do the same thing with that rope. So the rope is now off of that load area. It can now be inspected. We do an MRT, it's called, inspection. It's a electromagnetic test of the rope condition. We do that annually right now, as it is. But when you get to a tower, you can't get past that section because it's on the saddle. That's why the code requires you to move it, to get that stress area off, to inspect it, to elongate your rope length. In our case, it's due by code, and that's the process we're working on right now. So that's where we're at with the project. That's an explanation. If there's any questions about that, then I'll move on.
For the public in the reporting, by code, he's referring to New York State Department of Labor code for aerial ropeways and.
Correct. Yes, and they have adopted the NCB 77 standard, which is what specifies that this needs to be done. Every tramway in the U.S. has to do it by code. Every tram in the world does it per their particular code.
Any questions from?
Yeah, I have a question. This will take as long as it takes, and then in how many years will it need to be done again? And how many times can we slip the ropes without having to totally replace the...
Every 8 years.
3?
Every 8 years. And then after we relocate it, after we do this process, we'll do an immediate inspection on it to make sure there's no issues. And it's all based on indications found during inspection. Right now, both the haul rope is the other rope on the system. That's what actually pulls the tram back and forth. We test it as well annually. It's looking very good so far for 8 years, which is, it's getting up there for a haul rope. We continue to do these tests. We establish a pattern and we keep it close on it.
Okay, so now we know why you're doing what you're doing. What is the current status of the project, and how long will the public be out of the tram?
So, we knew we need to be fluid with this highly complex project. We agreed to assess each process as they occurred. Multiple steps along this way, and it's very decision work. It's a big job. If you look at those rows, to get these rows moved, it's a big process. After beginning the rigging process, it quickly became clear that the process needed to be adjusted to continue. What we need to do, in abundance of caution, is expand our work area. And we'll get into that. Due to the procedure adjustments that we found that we need to do, we're having to put rigging in areas that are public right now. And it's encroaching on the people in the area. That's due to what site conditions found, where we need to rig to. We knew we'd have to be fluid with this, and we would adjust as needed, and that's where we're at. And we can get into the details of what this means, but we need to expand the work area.
And how long do you anticipate at the moment this process taking for?
We're still sticking to the original timeline for this procedure.
The public isn't aware of that timeline, that's why. And what is the current timeline?
So originally and currently, the total project timeline is 12 weeks, and that still remains. So that's the information we have sent out in our public emails and the advisories we send out. That still remains. While there's challenges that we'll get into in a second, FOMA has been able to do a lot of the initial work up till now, up till at least until.
Yeah,
They're still doing a lot of the work. Yeah, because they haven't gotten to the rigging portion of that yet. I mean, there's a lot of cleaning of the ropes, there's a lot of setup that's involved, there's a lot of machinery that had to be shipped here. So all of that is still ongoing. So there's no current impact yet.
There is current impact because we're down one tram, right?
Correct, I meant the schedule of the project, sorry, I was specifically answering that. So just getting into some of the things that Mike mentioned, currently the site constraints of the site fence that we have, it constrains us within the area for all of our crane operations. So you'll see that there's a man lift out there. That man lift is not able to maneuver around in that space. There's other considerations and other safety items that Frank and France and Palma have brought up. And because of that, we have to expand the zone of the closure in that space on the platform area and on the surrounding area of the tram.
Right.
So, go ahead.
And what we are requesting while we're working on the north rope is the load and unload from the south side of the south tram. Most of our trams in the world load and unload from the same side, so it's not unusual for us to do that. It is unusual for this tram to have that traffic pattern, but it is doable. It's a doable thing. But that's getting everybody to the south side of the south tram so that we have full access to the north area.
Right. So currently we are only down to one tram, and access to that tram is around the platform and on either side of the tram area, I should say.
So you want both sides of the tram to work?
Not to work. I was saying commuter access currently is pretty much both sides of the tram.
Right, but what you're requesting is to get.
What we're requesting is that we limit the traffic flow on one side of the tram at a time when the work is being done. So when the work is being done on the north, all the traffic flow stays on the south. When the work is being done on the south, all the traffic flow stays on the north.
There's 3 platforms. There's the north side of the north tram, the center platform, and the south side of the south tram.
Yes.
Currently, we have 1 tram down.
Mm-hmm.
So no one's using the north side of the north tram.
Mm-hmm.
This year, no one's using the tram.
Right.
So what additional are you requesting, so we're really clear?
This is the closure of the center area, the loading area.
So if we close the center area, that means we have to change the way we do the fare collection as well as the traffic flow.
Correct.
That is correct.
Correct.
If we change that, then that means if we have to relocate the MTA fare collection facilities, there's a couple of things involved with that. One is we have to involve the MTA to move them, potentially. Secondly, is that involves drilling into the platform that we just sealed. And the last time that you did that, you didn't seal it back up correctly. We ended up with water intrusion into the subsurface layers and early decay of the platform surface. So
None of that is going to happen.
Right. Wasn't there?
And this is why none of that is going to happen.
Wasn't there a previous time the tram was being worked on, and they put up a partition wall down the middle of the central platform?
yes,
Why can't that be done again? Why do they need the whole platform for staging?
The ropes are running very low, running right over the center part of the.
Say that again?
The,
The rope.
so the previous work on the tram where they put up the partition was for the platform itself,
Yes.
waterproofing the platform
I
or the
remember.
renovation of the platform. But this work that we're doing now, it's all the overhead ropeway work. So all the ropes on the, practically above where people will be standing are being worked on. So for us to do the work safely and to have the abundance of caution, as you stated, we are requesting that we close down that area.
Okay, I would suggest that we not talk of this in terms of a request.
Right.
In terms of what?
A request. This is not
They're telling us
really
what's
a
happening.
request.
Where we're at right now.
What our contractor and our subcontractor are saying is basically, in order to be safe, they believe that they have to do it in a different way, which would mean that we are not going to be collecting fares for a period of time, because we're not going to be moving the vending machines or the turnstiles. And so for the period of time that's necessary on each side,
Yes.
we will not be collecting fares. So there will be a loss of revenue.
okay.
But according to our contractor and our subcontractor, this is required for public
Yeah,
safety.
one way loss of fare, so we're only doing one. Well, actually, are we gonna do both sides? Okay, so complete loss of fare, plus the
Plus
Yeah.
an inconvenience for how our
well, I guess the
commuters
public
are
has
gonna-
got a way, they're gonna be inconvenienced, they're gonna, by having to take a different path up and down,
Correct.
but they're gonna get it for free for a while.
There's
That
more-
is correct.
There's more.
One way for free.
No, actually, they're gonna take both center.
Isn't it
So, right,
different
so
time- different
right,
times?
yeah, there'll be different times where, the swipe turnstile would be not accessible on either end. So at one time, Roosevelt Island side would be free access, at some time, the Manhattan side would be free access. Currently, we're redefining our logistics. I mean, we've worked on a preliminary draft, but we're still in coordination with PSD, MTA, and also our staff to look at it more, more in depth and understand how we can better man people to have them around, to kind of coordinate the crowd.
Presence from PSD on both sides.
Yes, we need both sides.
Correct.
Yeah, okay. Will this impact our current elevators when you close, the way you move people through? Is there ever gonna be a situation where the elevator is not gonna be available?
Yes.
So the current work is on the North Tram. That does not impact any
Yes.
elevator, any elevator access on the Manhattan side. When the work happens on the South Tram, because the way the bench is placed right behind the tram area, that will impact the elevator access.
So that's another impact to the public, that they will not be able to use the elevator during the time you're working on the south side of the South Tram.
People with limited mobility are gonna really feel that.
They can't climb the stairs.
This is my cane that I use for walking. I'm not gonna wave it around. But I can't do the stairs. So what are you gonna do for me?
So we understand your concerns. Right now what we have is the current bus routes, and we also implement that emergency. We also implement the bus routes for in the event when the elevator goes down, which happens
Yep.
on and off. So we will
Far
continue.
too
that.
often.
Yes.
Well, we will continue that bus route. And
Plus,
It's not very popular.
But you're also looking
Other
into
options.
the option of emergency situation where there would be a stop of work in order to operate the elevator.
Okay. Hopefully it won't be too intrusive in either direction, to the public or to the work.
Now, the other aspect, sorry, any more questions on so far?
The center area of platforms, would that be a workstation, staging area? Or would that simply be to protect against overhead risk?
That,
Which part of
You
this?
said the center piece.
Center?
Yeah.
No work will be taking place in there, it's just to have it clear.
Is there any sense to having it shut, you know, put a construction shed?
on the center area,
Yeah.
since there will be no public access,
Well, I mean,
if you want-
if we use construction shed, protection, would that be sufficient for public access?
We talked about that, and with the force we're talking about on the track roads is, what's their time? 40, 100?
Okay, so it's not adequate.
100,
We don't know of a sidewalk shed that's capable of
Then that's the
doing
answer.
that,
Okay.
so.
and that's, I mean, that's also almost never, that's never happened, but, you know, we want to take an abandoned.
Okay, so
It's just caution.
It's insufficient
Right.
protection in anticipation of unknown risk.
Can we get a daily publication as to, which tram is working, which isn't, which side we go on, and whether or not the elevators are working? Are the elevators working? I mean, publish it on the, what's the emergency, on the, what do you call it?
Advisors.
The advisory.
Yes, advisory, every day. I
So-
wanna know if I gotta take a cab or.
So what we will do is we'll send out a general overview of the plan. After this meeting, we wanted to actually introduce here first, and then we'll send out a general overview of the plan, and we will have the constant communication.
Has to be.
Please mention other impacts.
Yes,
Shut
so
Yeah.
there's other impacts that we need to talk about now. While, as simply put, the rope needs to be slipped, right, and that's the larger project, right? When they slip this rope, that can have potential impacts, or we have safety concerns when the rope is slipped to run the second tram. So when the rope is being slipped, it'll be a minimum, there'll be 4 minimum tram, there'll be complete shutdown of the tram, minimum 4 times because of 4 ropes. There's total 4 ropes.
Okay, and how
So-
long would that be?
There'll be
approximately?
daytime or at night?
There'll be daytime, throughout the day.
These are at daytime, Mike again, it's daytime movements, starting as soon as the sun comes up and working till the sun goes down. Trying to get this done in one day, each rope moved. We have to let out on the island side, let rope out, go to Manhattan, bring it in. In this process, it's just too dangerous to have the other tram running at the time. We're gonna have a better sense of what's going on with the ropes after we do the first one.
So to add on to that, we've asked for as much notification as possible. Pullman has stated that they can give us at least 48 hours notice for the one-day shutdown. We've contacted.
I have some other advice. Don't drop the fucker.
That's right.
Listen to me. The original tram, one before this one, 26 or 28 odd years ago, maybe more than that, because I've been on about 40 years, they were slipping the cable, and they dropped it, stopping all transportation up and down First and Second Avenues. And then they did it again, and twice on the same project. So let's not do that, okay?
So they're taking every precautionary risk, every caution for
Make
this
sure.
project. We've
Make
con-
sure.
Yes, sir. We've contacted the MTA also to ensure that there's no interruptions. They've assured us there isn't any, but if there is, they're gonna call us right away. But again, this is a really big safety concern that's being addressed, so every precaution is being taken.
All right, with respect to these 4 days, they're not gonna be sequential, is
That's
that
right.
correct?
They will be non-sequential, so
So-
they'll be every 2 weeks, or is it every
It
other
should be about every week,
every week.
yeah.
One
day.
If
one day a
all
week.
goes right,
Oh.
I don't wanna
For 4
commit to
days.
anything, but if all goes right, to go from one rope to the next, we're looking at about a week.
And to be clear, a minimum of 4 days, it could be more.
Minimum of 4 days.
One day per
times.
rope.
Time, excuse me.
Yeah,
One day per rope.
1 day per rope at 4 intervals, and is it 4 ropes in 1 week or a rope a week?
A rope.
Rope a week.
Okay,
Yeah, and the goal is to get it done in one day, but this rope, spare rope is in the station, is in the Roosevelt Island Station. And if you get on the tram, you see those big coils of rope?
Yeah.
That's the spare. That gets unrolled into the motor room where it wraps around a big bollard, and then it feeds out, and that's what's holding everything on the island side, always has. So what we have to do is slowly, very slowly feed that out, and it has to slip over every tower. And then we have to go to the other side and pull it up. So
You have the
as long
retention
as
and everything.
everything is freeing up and moving like it should be able to get it done in a day. But if there's hangups along the way, you gotta stop and take a look at where the hangups are. We don't want any jerks.
Yeah, the other question that came up is, given that you're slipping approximately 30 meters, and you're doing it every 8 years, how many times do we have capacity to do this based on the spools of rope that we?
I think I asked that question.
Yes, you
about
did.
an hour ago.
You didn't ask
There's
it.
probably 5 possible times, so 40 years plus the last day,
Right.
so that's 48 years. They should last between 40 and 50.
Before the Sue, que je serai on this board of directors 20 years from now, and so I'll be keeping an eye on you.
Okay,
20 years from now,
so the, yeah,
26 years so far.
Any other questions?
at this moment, any questions from the public? You guys will be writing this up and informing the public, to a large extent about what's going on.
Well, we're gonna write up a release,
right.
and get it out tomorrow.
Members of the press, any questions at all? Get them out now.
So just the change in the loading of the tram will be for the duration of the project?
Correct.
Correct.
And when we're done with the north system, we'll reverse all of this, where everything's on the north side of the north track.
Just for clarity, the center platform on the Manhattan side as well will be out of service.
At times, we're gonna make a little path from the turnstiles around to the south side of the trench, but yes, the bulk of the platform.
And Wendy? Thank you.
Will they both be done at the same time, or will it be done at different times, the Manhattan and the Roosevelt Island station?
One rope at a time.
No, the station. So will the
Yeah.
center platform,
it affects
At the
both
same
Yes.
time,
sides.
at the same time.
So, like they described, it's a continuous rope, so they have to, for safety reasons, when they're moving the rope is tons and tons, plus it's under tension. So they have to loosen the rope on one side, so it slips and dips, while the tram is held up, and then they slide the rope, and then they retension it and mount it on the other side, and then remove the excess. So the issue is safety while they're moving the rope on that side. So that's why both sides, the center, gets blocked off at that time. Any other questions? Because like I said, you guys are gonna have your own little articles about this, want to make sure everything is clear, so we're all conveying the same information out to everybody, and
Yeah.
as to why they're doing this and what the impact will be, and
Was this the first
When will
time
this
for the
start?
tram? Yes.
for this tram, yes.
Yes.
It's happened many times in the past. Again, what happens is, so you just understand, when the tram goes over the saddles, those wheels you see up there,
Yeah.
and when the tram is stretching the rope and it hits, and then the saddles go over, hits the tram at the first impact point, and then it rolls over the top, okay? All those points, because the tram, the rope doesn't really move as much as it used to in the old days, you get like little hot spots, that's where those rollers are. And so they want to slide it, so we're not always hitting the same spots on that metal cable.
It's
all the
worn,
time.
it gets worn.
It gets worn at those spots,
Okay.
yeah.
You don't see physically, but it gets more fatigued, the steel,
It gets compressed
Yeah.
at those points. So we have to move it slightly to even out the wear.
so you move the bending points, and then you also have the ability to actually test them again.
Right.
Because before they're in an area you can't, they're on a solid profile, and you can't run your equipment.
I guess my last question, because I feel like people in the community will be asking this, was there a way this could have been done at the same time as the platforms last winter?
Could it have been done?
Yeah,
Yes.
could
Could it have been
You
done
don't
at
know
that time?
I mean, it
You
would have
don't know
been.
Well, the issue is that it was on a
Insane.
cycle, these guys have a maintenance cycle that's
Right.
separate from the platforms.
Okay,
It would have been an expense a year early.
okay.
And then getting these guys to be able to, we're on the platform every day carrying stuff, to work between two separate contractors. Yeah.
Also, risk energy platform, that all kinds expensive equipment going on.
Yeah. So again, they have to have, to move this chunk of wire, it says, you know, it seems really thick, really heavy wire under tension. You know, they have to be really careful because they don't want it to fall. And they're moving equipment around that's capable of lifting and cramming and clipping and moving this cable. So that equipment, you know, has to be able to reposition itself. So I want to make sure you guys, particularly you two, are clear when you're describing why we're doing.
This is media management we're doing.
I can see. I feel used. Now, when will this start?
Next week.
Monday?
We have to firm that up with RIOC first. We need to see when we can get the closures in place before we start doing any kind of tensioning.
We will send out an advisor before we start this work.
It could be, I mean, we think we could be ready as early as Sunday morning.
Wow, okay.
But we
It's
gotta
just-
get some fencing, we gotta get some ground, we got some logistics to do before that.
Again, it's continuation of the current operation. It's more about adding extra fencing and adding signage to read out folks. That's what's added to their work. So it's an additional fencing that's added. So it's not getting new equipment, it's more about getting additional
Right.
fencing and signage.
Clear information in your signage. Clear information.
How much money are you projected using during this time?
Did you project how much?
$750,000.
What was the question, I'm sorry?
How
What's
much
the projection?
Lost
you're
revenue.
gonna lose?
$750,000.
What about,
So this is an unexpected occurrence.
No, it's not unexpected.
excuse me, I believe I was talking.
Sorry, sir.
The way the MetroCard is set up, when a journey begins on the tram and then continues on the subway, tram gets the income. Coming home in the evening, you get in the subway, they get the income, and the tram gets nothing. In this case, we're going to be getting nothing both ways. We're not getting first hit, and I'm hoping that the estimates of loss are considered that. Have taken that into consideration.
We took into account, we looked at the losses that we had when we had the platform done. We lost about 33% of the ridership, not going on the tram whatsoever. We looked at the losses here. We thought the number was gonna be about $500,000 based on that 33% dip in ridership. We bumped that up based on the fact that we may have more people moving onto the F train, and we're gonna be losing revenue based on the fact that the MTA machines are gonna move. We think it's $750,000. It's all gonna depend on how many people are inconvenienced and feel as though they don't wanna go through this at all. I would guess, I would think that that number may go up a little bit, but when it's $750,000 to $1 million, it's still a big number. But
The tram is self-supporting now, isn't it?
the tram, as of January, made some money.
Say that again?
Have we made some money on the tram
Yeah.
in January? We
So
think,
that's gonna change.
we think that by the end of March, we'll be in a loss position.
So we'll have to subsidize it. Okay.
Are you gonna do anything to discourage tourist visits during the time to maybe, to keep the crowds down?
We don't have any, we don't.
Like, I don't know, like if tour groups contact you, will you tell them?
Nobody contacts us.
Oh, no, oh, all right.
Not really.
No, I think if you're a tourist and you see the lines, you may not wanna come, but I have no idea.
You know, I don't think you're gonna get a ton between now and March. I think the real tourist season starts when you do the cherry blossom and the spring.
Okay, any other questions on this? We have more agenda items.
So you guys are gonna do what you gotta do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Say,
Right.
comme il
We-
faut.